to fabricate the rear frame rails. As I explained probably in the previous video, they're two kind of 5mm thick laser cut parts. Now I had an issue with it was either the laser cutting or the tube sizing, but it was the laser cut was slightly too small to pass the tube through. So you'll see it looks like I've chewed with teeth around these circles. I just had to use a carbide bit. I'll adjust the laser cut measurements next time, but obviously I didn't want to just scrap all this. I kind of just had to make do with what I had. So yes, it's ugly, but the welds will hide all that. This is an inner rail. The two pipes, which will go onto the bit made in the previous video where the 4-link is, that will sit in there and I can weld round. And then the external side to this one is this one here, which doesn't have that on. So obviously looking from the side of the vehicle, it'll look really clean and tidy. And then obviously when you look over, you'll see all the kind of the posh 4-link setup. To get these, I wanted these obviously to match the main rails, which are going to be 2" by 4", which is roughly about 50mm thick. So these are obviously both 5mm, and I went out and bought some 40mm box section just to be able to kind of get the spacing correct on these. So what I'm going to do is put the box section in between the two rails, make sure everything's square, and then I can tack weld the circles in. So that will give me kind of the full overall thickness of 50mm, which is what I need. I have tacked one yesterday, which you'll see here. Basically, yeah, I've done the same thing. Obviously put the box section down in the void, got it all squared, and then put these circles in and tack them where it needs to be. I've done kind of a couple of welds on the inside, so that will hold it nicely to 50mm. And then, as I was explaining in the previous video, I've then got the tops and the bottoms to fit. So that's made out of 3mm, that top piece, excuse me. And that's just a case of tack welding where it needs to be, obviously bending it round. Second rail is tacked. I was going to go around and MIG it as in the first rail, but I've decided to use a TIG on it just for a bit of experience for myself. So it should be easy enough to flat back. The circles are looking quite nice now, rather than this kind of like jaggedy edge. Once they're all tigged, a bit of filler rod in and whatnot, they're nice and round. So yeah, happy days. It's probably going to be about another few hours for me to weld this up because the TIG's ridiculously slow. New day today. I was here till late last night. It's about 9 o'clock TIG welding. That one's obviously finished. This one I've still got to do the other side. I've just got to finish off this part here. There's about 5 meters in length of the flat at the top and the bottom on each one of these legs. So that's obviously 10 meters of a continuous weld I've got to do with a TIG per leg. So obviously 20 meters altogether. So yeah, it's obviously taking a little longer than anticipated. With a MIG it wouldn't have took so long, but kind of I decided to do with the TIG just to gain a bit of experience, and because when I come to kind of flat disc it back, it'll smooth up really quickly in comparison with MIG weld. So yeah, just basically got to do this top half of this final leg, flip it over and do the other top half. It's tacked all the way around, as you can see, to keep everything straight. All the circles are welded. So yeah, it's just finish off this TIG now, and then hopefully both of these pair of legs are finished. Right, just leaving this one to cool. Then it's a case of getting them both together and cleaning kind of the edges. I want to roll the edges over, so I'm going to use a flat disc and a grinder just to kind of curve curve the edges of both the rear rails. As soon as that's done, it will then be a case of assembling it to the rear 4-link support, which is what I made in the first video, and then putting in this crossbar, which is this one here, that's going to sit across the rear. And then I'm going to make up my number plate brackets, which are what these are. They're going to sit kind of on the crossbar like that. And then the number plate's obviously going to sit on that. So yeah, hopefully it should start looking a bit more like a chassis. And as soon as that's done, it's a case of next video I'm going to make a start on the front section. Right, other than make a massive mess of the garage, I've flapped back the edges, which is where it was all TIG welded. To clean it up, round it all off. Again, all these have been rounded off. I was going to leave the weld, but realised I'm not the best evenly spaced TIG welder, so I've decided just to kind of bend it all back in, just to give it kind of like a seamless finish. You can obviously see the one behind it needs flap disking back. Basically, it's just a flap disc and a grinder. Cleaning up obviously the edges and then the inners. I've used this tool here, which I showed in an earlier video. It's like a finger sander, and I've also took out, if you see on this one, all the tubing. How it's made has like an internal kind of seam, so obviously I've got rid of that as well. So these are now perfectly round, nice, clean, smooth circles. So that's the end of that. There's no point me doing a video of you watching me grind kind of the weld back, because it's just a bit pointless. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean the other one. I'm going to end the video here, and then the next video hopefully will be me assembling these legs onto the rear section of the frame, which should be quite good, because then that'll give kind of an idea of the finished kind of look of the hot rod frame. But yeah, pretty happy with them as they've come out.